to another video, guys. Today I'm gonna give you a fresh new top 5 meta report 4 days after the new expansion came out, so you really know what the new best decks are. We have quite a few new archetypes out there, but quite a few old ones that are still basically at the top of the food chain, but in this video you will know exactly what you should be playing with, as well as what you will be playing against, so you have a much better chance of hitting easy legend. I hope you find the video helpful, and if you do, a like and subscribe would be awesome, and I can assure you I'm gonna keep on giving you daily top Hearthstone deck guides and weekly top 5 meta reports. Now, let's get into the video. Before we get to the best decks, I'd just like to remind you that if you ever wanted to support the channel for free, you can download Raid Shadow Legends through my premium download link and start the game the right way, and I'm telling you, the game is much better than you might have heard. There's so many things you could be doing in this game, both for PvE and for PvP, and I know a lot of people think the game is pay to win, but you can enjoy it just as much as a free-to-play player. Personally, I have been playing the game for over 2 years now, and I have been doing pretty well for myself, not gonna lie, so if you also want to join me on this epic journey, download the game through my link, and you're gonna start yourself off with 4 amazing champions right out the get-go with my fresh new promo download link, and you're also gonna have 48 hours to use the promo code section to get yourself another extra amazing legendary champion in your first day of the game. Now, let's get into the best decks.
You are not prepared!
Okay, so this top 5 is gonna be more like a top 7, because I don't want to do you a disservice and pretend that the best decks right now are not 2 of the old best decks. And the first deck on the list is obviously gonna be Quest Warlock. This deck is still top tier, nothing really has changed in it. We have seen the perfect 30 cards for quite a while now, and I do believe this deck should be getting a nerf really soon, but until then, you can definitely keep on spamming this pile of cards. The other best deck is actually Leech Death Knight without Husk. Honestly, I really feel Husk does make the deck better, because it does give you an extra layer of protection if something goes fucky, but still, this is the perfect 30 apparently, with very high win rate, very high sample size, and it's not even the only list. Like, there are several iterations with no new cards, and all are doing amazingly well with 60% plus win rate. With those out of the way, I want to concentrate on 5 of the best new Hearthstone decks, and they are indeed the next 5 best decks, which is definitely cool. Would have been a lot cooler if they were actually the highest win rate, but Quest Warlock and Leech DK are just that strong. But be careful crafting them at this point, because Blizzard really doesn't like old decks being this strong for this long, so I would not be surprised if they get slapped in the next wave of nerfs, which should be coming in less than 10 days. The first best deck out of the new ones would be Bwonsamdi Death Knight, and this is literally the list I showed you in the first hour of the new expansion, or at least 95% of it. The 2 differences here I see would be a couple of Zerglings, which definitely makes some sense. It's basically an extra Morbid Swarm for you, so you can actually curve out even better. And what this deck tries to do is, it's basically a Death Rattle Death Knight, guys. You want to be curving into your turn 5 or turn 6, and then you start playing big Death Rattles like either Bwonsamdi, and I was gonna say or the Security Guard, but this one actually does not have the Security Guard, which is definitely pretty interesting. So what happens here is, you actually are gonna be resummoning Bwonsamdi over and over again with the help of your Awakener of Souls, and don't forget the minions that Bwonsamdi gives are also gonna have his boons, so you are gonna get yourself a lot of random 8 drops with Rush and Lifesteal preferably. You also get to cheat out big things with things like Exarch Maladar here, which is awesome, and the best things you could be cheating out would be Awakener of Souls, or Ziliax, or Ferak, or even High Cultist Heron. Just make sure to have already played a Death Rattle minion, because it's really fucky if you just summon yourself a couple of Awakener of Souls. That way you just get yourself a couple of 8 ones because they kill themselves and they don't even summon anything after. Elise is also in here, with which you could usually go for 1 mana get a copy, so you can get yourself extra 1 mana Awakeners or Husks, but you could also go for 5 mana for a bunch of Rushers with plus attack, and heck, even if the game goes long, you could even go for a 10er with Rushers and damage. That could also be good. You also have the entire Leech package in here, so you can suck nice and good, and we even have Endbringer Umbra, with which you are going to repeat all of those Bwonsamdi Death Rattles, as well as the Awakener of Souls. For the matchups, we don't really have too much stats, but overall the deck does really do well, close to 60% win rate. Going first, you're going to be looking for your good early game curve, with Creature of Madness being at the top. Ancient Raptor is great, Zergling, Infested Breath, Morbid Swarm, Talanji is amazing. What Befell Zandalar is also pretty awesome, because you don't really get a way to fish it out, so definitely try to hold on to it. Sanguine Infestation is great when you curve into it, and same can be said for release. Sometimes you could even straight out hold on to Bonsomdi. On the coin, it's really not much different. Honestly, even Exarch Maladar makes some sense on the coin, especially if you already have a nice corpsey hand. For other good Death Knight decks, like I said, plenty of Leech Death Knights at the top. Here's the one I talked about at the beginning. Here's another version without any new cards, and another, and here is Bonsomdi Death Knight sitting at 58.3% with 1300 games. Definitely not bad at all, so you should be climbing very well with this one, but we can also see other versions of Death Knights at the bottom. Here's one that includes Husk, and it's literally almost 3% lower than the top Leech performer, so definitely keep that in mind when thinking about adding him. Other than that, I'm not really seeing too much else for Death Knight. We did see a very high performer Space Death Knight at the top with a very small sample size, however. Here it is, I'm not gonna pretend I'm not seeing this. It does include even Husk in here, which is kinda cool. Frost Death Knight, not that amazing apparently. It definitely did wreak havoc a lot on the Brawl though. And so far, hand buff Death Knight does not seem to be showing up, but I'm pretty sure it's still gonna be doing well, but probably with no new cards. On the number 2 spot, we have a fresh new Aggro Demon Hunter, but if we gotta be completely honest, the old Aggro Demon Hunter is literally just as good with even higher sample size, but still, newer takes priority for me. A similar deck like this I actually used for Easy Legend this month, and that is gonna be the next video on the channel, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, this new Demon Hunter is abusing the new Perennial Serpent, and that is definitely a pretty cool new card for it. And also Devious Coyote makes the cut in here, because you do have several different ways of chipping the opponent multiple times each turn, including Sigil of Cinder, which is not a part of the deck I used for my legend, but definitely does make sense for an easy Devious Coyote. You also have several different ways of getting yourself a bunch of dormant minions, including things like Red Card, Slumbering Sprite, Grim Harvest, Wyvern Slumber, and your opponent can also just play something dormant not knowing you are gonna abuse that, and that can be pretty nice. Other than that, we also have the damaging Ziliax with Haywire plus Power Module, and a lot of phase damage to go. The deck is pretty fast, pretty consistent, so you should be climbing with ease with this one. Not too much stats just yet, so let's move down to the mulligans. Obviously, you are going to want to curve out as good as you can with a proper good 1-drop. We are also using the new 1-mana weapon, which is also a decent keep. But you are going to notice, if you are actually playing this the way you would play a normal Aggro Demon Hunter, you're not going to be having as good of a time, apparently. People are keeping the traditional 1-drops left and right, but the win rate suffers for it. The real power comes for this deck when you actually do the Perennial Serpent, the dormant stuff, the Ziliax, that kind of stuff. So apparently you might want to reconsider how you're mulliganing for this one. Just curving out with the proper 1-drops might not be enough. But to be fair, don't take into account things like Dangerous Cliffside as a keep or a Cane. Only take these stats if it still has a high cap trait. For instance, the Serpent is amazing to get hold on to. Getting a dormant for turn 2 is pretty nice. The Ziliax would be amazing, but this you only hold on to if you have a proper curve. You are going to hold on to it a lot, but not as often if you don't have anything to curve into. The Sprite is amazing, and this one you actually get to control how long it's going to be dormant for you, so it basically guarantees you a Serpent if you want it, and so on and so forth. On the coin, again, here's what the situation looks like. Here, holding on to your Battle Fiend apparently is a lot better, but also going second with this deck is a lot worse. Here's what the stats look like for other good Demon Hunter decks right now. A Ravenous Cliff Dive Demon Hunter is still just as strong as ever, small sample size, but good enough, I'd say. Here's the old Pain Demon Hunter I talked about, that is still doing just as good as the new one, which has the same win rate, but obviously this has a lot more sample size, so it is gonna be the proven deck, but this one is feeling new and fresh, so there's that too. Scrolling down, we can see other Aggro Demon Hunters. I think this is the one I used exactly. Yeah, with the Customs Enforcers, they felt amazingly well for me, so this one is also pretty proven. Pepper Demon Hunter is up there. No new cards, I think. No, it actually has a couple of Serpents still, which is kind of cool. And Space Demon Hunter, not as amazing apparently. So far, anything Broxigar touches is absolute trash, so don't even try. But now let's move down to the third deck. And here we have the cool new Garona Rogue, which really felt awesome, and I'm pretty happy that the card I actually revealed is doing this good. And one really important thing about this deck is it actually counters the new Dummy Warrior, which a lot of people have been complaining about. What is this deck trying to do? Well, you basically build yourself very big Kingslayers with which you get to keep on slapping over and over again, because you get to give it extra durability with your Swarthy Swordshiner, you get to make it bigger with the Sharp Shipment, that kind of stuff. Even with Deadly Poisons, it becomes even bigger and better, and you are gonna keep on drawing drawing yourself legendary cards while probably drawing King Lane over and over for the opponent, and they need to keep on playing this if they don't want to get slashed in half. This also gives them a lot harder time managing their hand because they could burn something important. And also the other very big thing about the Garona package is this gives the opponent one bad card, and it gives you one less card in your deck, so it makes yours more consistent while making theirs less consistent, which is huge. An interesting cut here I'm noticing is this one only has a single Sword Shiner, which does make some sense. We also only have a single Sandbox Scoundrel, which again makes some sense, but we still have two raiding parties because it's just that important finding these pirates as well as finding your weapon. You don't have any other pirates in here, so it's gonna be very consistent this way, but let me see what we actually made room for, because I'm actually not seeing it right now. Oh, there it is. We have a couple of O managers, and I did actually say that this deck really feels like it's missing O managers in it, but I was more leaning towards cutting flashbacks because those are okay, they're not bad cards, but sometimes they could be wonky for you, but it's definitely not a bad thing to be doing a turn 1, double 1-drops with +1 attack for sure with the help of prep or with the coin, so there's that too. Anyway, I definitely recommend you check out my detailed guide about this deck. It's really consistent, it slaps a lot of damage, and by the time they actually manage to somewhat stabilize against you, you're actually ready to do a turn 6 Firak with the help of 1 mana Scoundrel plus Nerlex plus Firak, which is absolutely huge and super consistent. For the matchups, here's what we have. Like I said, absolute unit of a deck against Dummy Warriors, so if you're sick of those, go fuck him up. Going first, this is what the mulligan looks like. You're trying to curve off as good as you can with Space Rock Collector, Raiding Party MVP. If you don't have that, Kingslayer straight up as a keep. The flashback is actually pretty awesome on curve. Foxy Fraud is okay. Prep can be amazing for a turn 1 Raiding Party even. You could even straight out hold on to Swarthy Sword Shiner if you don't have Raiding Party just yet. Prep plus Dubious Purchase could be hot. The rest probably not so hot. On the coin, again, plenty of the same stuff. Just try to get your Kingslayers and your Pirate package nice and quick, and you should be right as rain. For other good rogue decks, I have been hearing people hit rank 1 legend with Deos rogue, but so far the majority of people are actually botching that deck to hell, and we can also see Firak rogue actually doing very strong, and technically speaking I should have actually mentioned this deck at the beginning of the video because, and technically speaking this deck actually does as good as Garona rogue I showed you just now, there you are. This one has slightly more sample size, but it's basically Firak rogue from the past with a couple of new cards included, which are flashbacks as well as deja vus. So you could play Firak rogue just as well. If you enjoy that archetype, personally I would go for Garona, but maybe I'm a little bit biased. Anything else showing up here? A lot of Garonas, a lot of Firaks, and we're gonna have to scroll quite a lot to see anybody Deos, but if you're really good with this deck, you could actually be doing some amazing things, including rank 1 legend apparently, because somebody already did that. On the number 4 spot, we have Aura Paladin, and this is a cool new deck you could be abusing for easy legend as well. Well, it's not gonna be that easy actually. This one is running Sunsnapper Lionessa, and that usually means it is gonna have some wonky combos to go with it. The deck definitely looks pretty interesting, and I'm not even sure how exactly you should be playing this one. I already faced it a few times, and they definitely can be quite the troublesome deck against us. And with Lionessa, you actually don't have that many things to combo off with. You do have yourself a couple of O managers, with which you could be getting yourself tons of coins, so you're not really OTKing with Lionessa, and this one you're just abusing her for a lot of extra mana, I guess. And also doubling up your resistance aura could be super huge, basically ensuring the opponent's not going to be doing anything spell-wise anytime soon. But what else are we trying to do with Lionessa here? Like, is that it? Kinda feels like it, don't it? Do let me know in the comments if I'm missing something obvious here, but yeah, you have plenty of coins with metal detectors and no managers, so that is definitely not something bad for you. We even have Puppet Master Dorian in here, which feels awfully weird. I guess if you protected behind a Righteous Protector, it might last a few turns for you, but you don't even have that much card draw aside from Urson Maul. I guess that's the big combo here. Turn 4 Urson Maul into turn 5 Puppet Master, and then on turn 6 you actually get to play 1 mana Firak, 1 mana Gelben, that kind of stuff. Kinda cool. And yeah, you are running Gelben in here with plenty of auras, but we're actually not running the greedy 7 mana aura, which honestly felt super dumb to be fair. Summoning yourself a random big minion each turn, kinda okay, you know, but if you top deck it, you're never playing it. If you don't, you just get some random nonsense on the board. It's kinda okay, but I guess consistency is key with this one. The auras you have in here would be Resistance Aura, Gnomish Aura, Crusader Aura as well, Chronological Aura, and Mechatork Aura. Both this plus Gnomish Aura have tradable because they come from Gelben. The deck does look interesting. I might actually try it tonight on stream, so be on the lookout for that. But now let's see how it fares on the matchups. Actually pretty good. Aside from Leech Death Knight slightly unfavored, and Quest Warlock not so slightly unfavored, Shred Warlock as well. well. Everything else looks pretty green, including Dummy Warrior by a lot, so again, big selling point. And let's see how you should be mulliganing here. Going first, here's what we have. Creature of Madness is great, Righteous Protector is okay, Metal Detector amazing, Urson Maul even. At least the Navigator is pretty cool when you curve into her. All Manager is fine, Puppet Master can be great, especially with the big weapon. This Wisp, I have no idea why you would hold on to the Wisp. The only reason the Wisp is in here is so you can actually have yourself Elise activated, so don't try cutting it out. Technically speaking, you could tempo this girl out as well on turn 3, let's say, and follow with a turn 4 Crusader Aura, but I don't think that's so amazing, so I wouldn't really hold on to Wisp here. Feels kind of weird. Anyway, on the coin, again, plenty of the same stuff, so mulligan accordingly. For other good Pally decks, this is the one I'm showing you. Almost 58% win rate, above 4,000 games, pretty good stuff. But also, aggro Pally is doing pretty well, with no new cards in here to be fair. Several iterations of it as well. Quest Paladin is doing okay, nothing too amazing actually. And why the hell is it not running the new legendary? Murloc, I have no idea, really feel that one makes the cut. Other versions of Lionessa Pally are also out there, this one runs no Melia, and the rest is iterations of those, I guess. And the last deck on the list is gonna be Dummy Warrior, because this deck is actually pretty cracked. I think people are starting to realize how they should be playing around this deck, and also a lot of people started running things like Ham the Hungry and versions similar to this, as well as Dirty Rats and other decks, so this deck is very susceptible to combo breakage, because this in particular runs a single copy of Testing Dummy, as well as a single Chrono Lord, like you can't run two anyway. But yeah, if somebody pulls your Chrono Lord before you're ready, you are in deep shit. I did give you a detailed guide about this deck, so definitely give that one a check if you want to know exactly how you should be pulling the combo off. It's not exactly super obvious the first time you see this pile of cards, but once you get the hang of it, it's a very smooth ride, a very easy deck to stabilize with for a very long time, and you literally get to do the combo as soon as turn 6 or 7, which is kinda huge. The deck has tons of armor gain, it has a good amount of control, it has insane amount of card draw, and it's super consistent at what it does, because it does fish out both the taunts with the help of Quality Assurance, so as soon as you see a warrior do Quality Assurance against you, you might want to actually try and pull for the Testing Dummy, but also be prepared for a Tordala. If you don't have a card removal for this thing, you're not going to be very happy doing that. Like I said, you could be countering this deck with Garona Rogue, so if you're sick of them, spam that. Here's what the matchups look like. This is one of the most popular decks from the new meta right now, and Beast Hunter is going to be doing well against it, Aggro Pally as well as Lionessa apparently as well. Garona Rogue absolutely wrecks it, and same can be set for Egg Warlock, Dragon Warrior, and Quest Warrior. For the mulligan, here's what it looks like. Quality Assurance absolutely MVP, Shield Block is amazing, Precursory Strike is huge, the Boom Wrench, Chemical Spill as well, and with Xavius you could actually get to fish out your Deos nice and reliably, so that also could be a consideration. Don't get baited into always doing Part Scrapper ASAP, especially if you're against aggro, you're gonna need all the armor you can get, so don't get ahead of yourself. On the coin, again, try to get the good card draw, and you should be right as rain. For other good warrior decks, we actually have a new interesting version of Dragon Warrior with the new Fabled card in there, very small sample size however. Also Quest Warrior is doing pretty well, again with a small sample size and nothing too new in here aside from some of the obvious inclusions like Unleash the Crocolisks. This is the Dummy Warrior I showed you, 10 freaking thousand games guys, insane, with a very good win rate as well to go with it. There's also this new Dragon Warrior apparently, which is looking interesting, and plenty of iterations of those I guess. So yeah, Warrior is actually eating good this expansion it seems. For the classes we haven't mentioned, starting off with Druid. Dollhouse Druid seems to be the best bet for the class right now, without the new card, which is kinda interesting. Chrono Druid is playable, but just above 50%, so definitely not very reliable just yet. And we have several different interesting decks under 50%, so a bunch of meme stuff basically. For Hunter, Beast Hunter is still doing just as strong, and again it is performing better than some of the lists I showed you from the new stuff, without including any new cards. We have several iterations of it. We also have Neri Hunter doing okay, nothing too amazing however, and so far the Hyper Aggro Face Hunter is really not that strong. Discover Hunter, it's a good deck, but very hard to play well, so these stats might not be the same for somebody who actually knows how to play the deck. For Mage, Big Spell Mage seems to be doing fine for the class, but Elemental Mage is the big winner right now. It's a fast, cheap, simple deck, so a lot of people are probably abusing it and doing pretty well for themselves doing so. Protoss Mage is doing okay-ish, Quest Mage is also on the okay-ish side, and plenty of different iterations of those, but so far Arcane Mage is looking absolute garbo. For Priest, Protoss Priest seems to still be doing fine, nothing too amazing however, just 55-ish, 56 at best, with good sample size however. Bandage Priest is also doing okay, but so far we're really not seeing anything amazing out of the new archetypes. Zarimi Priest with the new Murozond is doing fine actually, it's bottom tier 2 but still pretty acceptable, 54-ish% win rate with good sample size. But we're really not seeing the Fabled Priest card doing as good as people thought it would, so there's that too. Like look at this, 44% win rate, absolute garbage. Shaman is really not doing as strong as we really thought it would. Like, the new Muradin card is really not performing as decent as it should have. And it's sitting at the bottom of tier 2, heck, even at the top of tier 3 if we gotta be completely honest. The pirate version of Muradin Shaman looks fine-ish. There's also elemental versions out of it, but it's really not performing as strong as it should have, guys. So there's that. And it seems like Elemental Shaman is performing even better than everything else the class has to offer, so definitely not as happy of an expansion for Shaman. And last but not least, we have Warlock. Like I said, Quest Warlock is still absolutely busted for the class, but also Shred Warlock is doing well. Technically speaking, we could have included this list because it has over 500 games and decent win rate. So yeah, Shred Warlock is another deck I might actually give a try today. Be on the lookout for that one on the stream. Egg Warlock is also still out there pretty well performing, but Rafam Warlock is really not as strong as we thought it would be once it came out. I did try it on day one, it was performing amazing, but now it is literally 46% win rate, guys. I don't know, really felt like it could have done better, but I guess not so much. For the sake of this being a full meta report, let's also go through the top legend performers. I'm also gonna give you a glance for top 1000 legend. We really don't have that much stats, but yeah, Quest Warlock still king, guys. Shocking, I know. Shred Warlock, however, also showing up here is pretty interesting, so if you want to play something new, Shred Warlock seems to be a great deck. So that's gonna be it for this top 5, guys. I really hope this helps you hit Easy Legend in Hearthstone in the new expansion. If you want to support the stream for free, download Raid through my premium download link and start Raid with so many amazing champions right out the get-go. And if you do need help with the game, check out my YouTube channel about it. I also do free account takeovers each Tuesday and Thursday live on stream on YouTube to help you enjoy the game even more. Thanks for watching. I'm Kris05 and I'll see you in my next video or stream.